Are you ready to relive a moment that shook the sumo world? At the 2017 Harubasho, Kisenosato stood at 12-0, one win from back-to-back Yusho. But on day 13, Harumafuji shattered his left shoulder, putting his dream and career in jeopardy. On the SumoSpirit channel, join us to unravel the fight that ruined Kisenosato's career. Kisenosato Yutaka, born on July 3, 1986, in Ashia, Hyogo, became a legendary figure in the world of sumo. A legend in the making? Absolutely! His climb to the summit of sumo was long and full of challenges, but finally, in January 2017, he reached the prestigious rank of Yokozuna, the highest in the sport. Why was this such a big deal? Because he became the first Japanese-born wrestler to achieve this honor since Wakanohana in 1998. That's nearly 2 decades without a homegrown Yokozuna. In the meantime, foreign wrestlers, particularly Mongolians, had dominated the top ranks. At the time of the 2017 Harubasho, Kisenosato was on fire. He had just won the Hatsubasho this year and entered the Osaka tournament as the favorite to defend his title. The pressure? Enormous. The hopes of an entire nation rested on his shoulders. The 2017 Harubasho, held from March 12 to 26 at the Osaka Prefectural Gymnasium, was the year's second tournament and the first to feature Kisenosato as a newly promoted Yokozuna. Fresh off his electrifying 14-1 Yusho at the Hatsubasho, all eyes were on him to see if he could rise to the occasion and prove he truly belonged among the greatest. Expectations? Sky high. This tournament was historic for another reason. Many legends in the dohyo, the Ozeki, none other than Harumafuji. And at this time, there were 4 active Yokozuna: Hakuho, Kakuryu, Harumafuji, and Kisenosato. When was the last time that happened? Not since March 2000. Who were they at that time? Akebono, Takanohana, Wakanohana, and Musashimaru. 2 Japanese brothers and 2 foreign wrestlers. The year 2017 had all the right ingredients for a spicy sumo season. At the Harubasho, the mix was especially flavorful. Harumafuji was fighting for his Ozeki survival, while Takayasu was building serious momentum as a rising powerhouse. With veterans clashing, rookies surging, and Yokozuna pride on the line, the stage was set for unforgettable drama. On day 5, hopes for the Japanese contenders soared even higher. Sumo legend Hakuho had pulled out of the tournament with an injury to his right foot and thigh. The once unstoppable Yokozuna left with just 2 wins and 3 losses. Kisenosato opened the tournament flawlessly, winning his first 12 bouts and leading the scoreboard undefeated through day 12. But he still had to face Harumafuji, Kakuryu, and the fierce Ozeki Harumafuji. Without a doubt, the toughest battles were still ahead. His closest rival? Ozeki Harumafuji, just 1 win behind and breathing down his neck. On day 13, Kisenosato stepped onto the dohyo to face Harumafuji, who entered the match with a 9-3 record and nothing to lose. What happened next? This is the fight that destroyed a legend's career, and you won't believe how. Harumafuji came out swinging, fast, fierce, and fearless, just as you'd expect from him. He wasn't holding back. Less than 5 seconds in, he unleashed his signature atomic tachiai with terrifying precision, crashing into Kisenosato like a freight train. The impact was brutal, enough to shake the Yokozuna and knock him off balance. From that moment on, everything changed. What went wrong? In that split second as Kisenosato stumbled from the impact, he fell at an unnatural angle and disaster struck. His left shoulder took the brunt of the fall, wrenching violently as he hit the clay. The damage was immediate and severe. A torn pectoral muscle, trauma to the upper arm, and a shoulder injury that would haunt him for the rest of his career. The crowd didn't know it yet, but they had just witnessed the beginning of the end. A closer breakdown of the bout reveals a lightning-fast opening, with Harumafuji using his explosive tachiai to unleash a massive initial shove. Kisenosato, caught off guard by the explosive impact, lost his balance and was driven to the edge of the dohyo. Desperate to recover, Kisenosato tried to regain his footing, but the fall was inevitable. Harumafuji's crushing Yorita Oshi technique had left him injured, and it showed. The injury occurred when Kisenosato hit the ground following that initial blow, and it's believed that his left pectoral muscle tore at that very instant. The outcome? It was a painful loss for Kisenosato, dropping him to 12-1, while Harumafuji improved to 10-3. But this wasn't just a loss, it was the turning point. For the tournament, for his career, for the man himself. That brutal shoulder injury cast a dark cloud over everything. The unstoppable rise of Japan's new Yokozuna had hit a wall, and no one knew what would come next. What had happened to him was something really serious. How serious was it? According to medical reports, the injury required at least a month of recovery, and there was speculation that immediate surgery was necessary to repair the damage to his chest and upper arm muscles. But what did he choose? Surprisingly, Kisenosato made a decision that shocked the sumo world. He decided not to undergo surgery right away and continued competing, a choice that affected both his recovery and his ability to perform at the highest level. On day 14, despite a fresh shoulder injury from the previous day's brutal clash, Kisenosato made the impossible choice. He decided to fight. Why risk it all? The crowd erupted as he stepped onto the dohyo, full of hope and fire. But the moment the match began, everything took a dark turn. He was up against none other than Mongolian Yokozuna Kakuryu, one of the most formidable rikishi in sumo history. After an initial push, Kakuryu quickly grabbed him and forced him out using a yorikiri, his second loss. A heavy blow, not just to his record, but to the hope that still lingered. His tally now stood at 12-2. As if things weren't already going downhill, Terunofuji sealed the deal with a stunning hatakikomi against Kotoshojiku, all while Kisenosato watched helplessly from the sidelines. Now Terunofuji's record is 13-1. Kisenosato's only shot? Win on day 15 and pray that Terunofuji stumbles. The silver lining? They were facing each other, meaning Kisenosato had the perfect chance to take down Terunofuji, even the score, and force a playoff. Ozeki versus Yokozuna. Day 15 arrived. All eyes were on the dohyo as Kisenosato and Terunofuji faced off. Everything was on the line. At the tachiai, Kisenosato launched a mini henka, a small sidestep maneuver, just enough to throw Terunofuji off balance. Did it work? Instantly. Terunofuji stumbled but recovered fast, locking up with Kisenosato chest to chest. With sheer will and perfect timing, Kisenosato drove Terunofuji out and claimed the victory. The Kimarite, Tsuki Otoshi. The first step was already done, defeating Terunofuji one time. Now tied at 13-2, the two leaders prepared for a final playoff once Harumafuji and Kakuryu wrapped up the regular bouts. And in that playoff, Kisenosato struck like lightning. He wasted no time. Almost immediately, he seized Terunofuji's arm, with his right arm, the one not torn by injury, and executed a flawless kotenaje armlock, throwing him down and securing his second Emperor's Cup. How rare was this moment? It was the first time in 22 years that a newly promoted Yokozuna had captured the championship. And even rarer still, he did it while seriously injured. Following the playoff, Kisenosato received the Emperor's Cup in an emotional ceremony. Competing with an injury that would have forced most wrestlers to withdraw, Kisenosato didn't just survive, he won it all. After this amazing tournament, Kisenosato skipped the 2017 Spring Yungyo Tour, the traditional exhibition circuit, in order to rest his injured shoulder. A red flag? Definitely. Jungyo is a crucial time for wrestlers to stay sharp and engage with fans. Missing it was an early indication of how serious the injury really was. Then came the 2017 Natsubasho, a pivotal chapter in his story as Yokozuna. He returned with the goal of proving he could still meet the expectations of sumo's top rank. But was he ready? Not quite. Physically, he was far from peak condition. Over the first 11 days, he managed 6 wins and suffered 5 losses. As the matches progressed, it became clear the pain in his shoulder and loss of strength were becoming more and more apparent. Struggling on the dohyo, he eventually withdrew from the tournament, missing the final 4 days. His final record? 6-5-4, far below what's expected from a Yokozuna and a turning point in his career. His return to the dohyo at the July 2017 Nagoya Basho? Short-lived and painful. Kisenosato secured only 2 wins before withdrawing after 4 losses and 9 days of absence, ending with a record of 2-4-9. Was that March championship really worth it? Pushing through the pain may have earned him glory in the moment, but it came at a steep price, dragging him into years of struggle and disappointment. His injury was still severely limiting him. His movements were stiff, and the lack of power on his left side made him an easy target for opponents who exploited that vulnerability. In the September 2017 Akibasho, Kisenosato withdrew completely, marking his second consecutive full absence from a tournament. No surgery, still injured. His recovery was only getting more complicated. Rumors began to swirl. Could he really maintain the Yokozuna rank? After all, the Japan Sumo Association demands consistent performance from wrestlers at the highest level. Then came the November 2017 Kyushu Basho, another comeback attempt. The result? Disappointing. Kisenosato earned just 4 wins and 6 losses before withdrawing again after 5 missed days, with a final record of 4-6-5. There were flashes of his former power, sure, but his lack of mobility and left side weakness were painfully obvious. Many of his losses came from being unable to withstand opponents' initial pushes or execute techniques that relied on left arm strength, leaving him wide open to moves like Supari and Yorikiri. In the tournaments that followed, Kisenosato struggled to stay balanced and powerful, often losing to opponents who previously wouldn't have posed a threat. Just look at the 2018 Hatsubasho. Only 1 win, 5 losses, and 9 absences. A disastrous record for any Yokozuna. Things didn't improve. He was completely absent from the Haru, Natsu, and Nagoya Basho of 2018. Was there any hope left? Maybe. At the Aki Basho, he surprised everyone with 10 wins, but also recorded 5 losses. Could this be a comeback? Sadly, no. At the following Kyushu Basho, he suffered 4 defeats and missed 11 days. These repeated absences and poor results marked the decline of his career. The decision not to have surgery immediately became a fateful turning point. He never again returned to the dominant form he once had before the injury. After nearly 2 years of battling injuries and uneven results, Kisenosato announced his retirement on January 16, 2019, at just 32 years old, during the 2019 New Year tournament. What happened in that final tournament? He had suffered 4 straight defeats in the opening days, a painful reality check that his body could no longer meet the brutal demands of competitive sumo. Was this the end fans had feared? Absolutely. The Yokozuna, who once stood as the great hope of Japanese sumo, could no longer continue the fight. The announcement didn't come quietly. During his emotional retirement press conference, Kisenosato expressed deep gratitude to his fans and the wider sumo community. What did he choose for his next chapter? He revealed he would adopt the elder name Araiso, stepping into a new role as a sumo elder dedicated to guiding and training the next generation of wrestlers. What does it mean for a warrior to become a teacher? In this case, everything. His departure from the ring marked far more than the end of an athlete's career. It was the closing act of a man who had climbed to the very top of one of the most grueling sports in the world, capturing 2 Yusho titles and carrying the hopes of a nation on his shoulders, all while pushing through unimaginable adversity. And yet, retirement did not mean disappearance. Today, Kisenosato remains deeply involved in the world of sumo, not as a competitor, but as a coach and mentor at his own stable, the Nisonoseki Beya. Here he serves as the stable master of Yokozuna Onosato, the top rikishi in sumo today, whose dominant style bears more than a passing resemblance to his own. What kind of wisdom comes from pain? Kisenosato's experience, both glorious and tragic, now serves as a guide for the future stars of the sport. His role behind the scenes may be quieter, but it is no less significant. Kisenosato's legacy is one of perseverance, pride, and sacrifice. He was a fighter who overcame setbacks that would have ended the careers of lesser men. He became a Yokozuna, breaking a nearly 20-year drought for Japan. He won 2 championships, and in doing so, rekindled national pride in the native sumo tradition. But he also paid dearly, physically and emotionally, for his iron will to continue. What is the cost of greatness? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the SumoSpirit channel for more content. See you in the next video.